An avid cyclist dreams of turning his passion into a business. He consults his banker to help find the best path. Now bike wheels are being built, and all it took was a little push to get rolling. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Clint.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? It's Sunday, and it's time for another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Don't even, Fruit Loop. What's good, Fruit Loop?
Not your leg. Y'all missed it. She done slipped in the kitchen, did a split.
Oh my gosh, I'm too old to do splits.
I just simply asked her. She was going to get her coffee, and I said, grab me a bottle of water.
That's what I get for mopping my kitchen and wearing socks.
So here comes Grandma over here hopping along now.
Well, you heard it, though. It was just, I'm surprised you didn't hear the stretching of my tendons.
That's why you don't wear socks on hardwoods. It'll get you.
Oh, my gosh.
It'll get you.
Surprised you didn't hear my tendons ripping open. I'm going to have a lip for a month now. These things don't heal as quickly. And of course, she's laughing, but that's just how we roll.
Yeah, that was funny. Thanks for the water, though.
I mean, it was all my pleasure. Okay, so if you guys hear a wince, you know I have changed positions. I'm probably going to put my coffee cup right there on my thighs just to get a little heat to it. So
we had a good response of our last theory that we talked about yesterday.
Everybody kind of thought it made a little sense. And just to clarify, we're not saying that, first of all, it's a theory, but we're not saying that Chad's not going to get any other charges. It's just if they're able to charge Lori with a bigger felony, that doesn't mean Chad's going to escape anything, but it would be a reason to sever those cases, which could explain why Pryor was super happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys were awesome about it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know who was in those houses.
Right.
We only know Alex. We basically only know his pings because that's all it shared.
I'm really curious to see the forensics on the duct tape and the bags and things like that, because it's really going to answer who had their hands on that precious boy.
Yep.
And duct tape is just a gold mine for forensics. So
yeah, remember we did that experiment with gloves and duct tape, and it was
that's right.
It was horrendous. You could not get it off.
We've come a long way.
I know, right?
I've totally forgotten about that. But no, I mean, it's people get busted all the time with duct tape evidence, at least on forensic files.
I mean, it's basically glue.
Yeah. So you're looking at even hair fibers or skin cell. It's just, yeah. There's so much we can't wait to find out. So today we're going to pick up on episode 5. That's where we left off on the last one.
Yep, the Mommy Doomsday Dateline thing. Yep. Yeah,
which was really good. If you haven't listened, go check out all 6 episodes, because we're not sharing half of what was in those. We're just picking out what was interesting, the most interesting to us. And the one thing I got to thinking about at the start of episode 5, Kay's talking about the Amazon, where she was able to find where the kids were because Lori was still using Charles's account. And I got to thinking, can you imagine how long this might have gone on if she had not found the emails and found out where Lori was living?
Yeah.
Because at that point, her family didn't know, Colby didn't know, Kay Shirley didn't know, and that could have been months.
Oh, yeah.
Just added on to this whole drama. And unfortunately, at that point, the kids were deceased. But I was just thinking it was meant to be that Kay figured out that password.
Yep.
And then she mentioned that 17 days before Tammy's death, that was when they bought the wedding rings on Amazon. So
that's crazy.
it's just, we're so used to the facts now, but then sometimes you revisit certain things and you just kind of, your mouth hangs open and you go, what in the world?
Yeah. Like, how do you, I mean, you're still living with your wife, and I mean, extramarital affairs happen all over, but man, that's tough.
Yeah. It always amazes me that people just don't get divorced regardless. I mean, surely murder is not more acceptable than divorce in whatever he had in his mind religion wise.
You're not going to get away with it.
No.
Like,
it's just so obvious. Wife ends up dead, and then 2 weeks later, somebody's seen out with, I mean, this is so typical of these affair cases. It's so obvious.
Yeah, and I think the guy, I don't know his name, but he was on the mission, his missionary, whatever. I don't forget where it's at. I think it was New York or something where he was.
I'm not sure where he was.
But he said that was a red flag for him when Chad remarried so quick. Mm-hmm. That he said,
Yeah, yeah. And that guy was very, I guess, open-minded is the word to say. Because he sort of was not excusing, but it seemed like he was tolerant of some things that had happened, or he understood. He was very strange to me in a way, but he said that was the big red flag.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was very animated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not saying, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to call him out because.
Yeah, he was very animated.
Animated. That's a good word.
Yep.
So when the police did the first welfare check, this always amazes me is when Lori says, yeah, that's my brother and his friend, and they're going somewhere. When they ask, who's that guy? And she fails to mention that's her husband.
Yeah. And then Chad didn't have her cell phone number.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know her number. Barely know her. I mean, and then the guy on the body cam, you can hear him say, wait, Chad Daybell, didn't his wife just die?
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of says, and he's an author. So the cops knew who Chad was when they went to the townhomes the first time.
Yeah. Then something hit me the other day was, so Alex tells the cops that JJ is with Kay. Mm-hmm. And then we know Lori says he's with Melanie Gibb. So did they just get caught off guard and they didn't rehearse that story? Or what happened there that their stories didn't line up from the beginning?
I don't know that they ever felt like they needed to get their stories on the same page. I just think they felt they were above it. I really do think in their minds they thought, even if just during this time, that there were going to be no consequences, because Melanie Gibb did mention in the podcast that they got very careless because of that.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're convinced you're going to be raptured out of here or whatever, you're just not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To them.
Good point.
But they're eating that crow right now because it's March and the end of the world was supposed to be July?
Yeah, July or August or something.
Then it became another, but that happens with every cult when they try to predict a doomsday. And I think that Heaven's Gate cult did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they named a date and, things have changed. There's always an excuse.
Yep.
So Melanie Pulowski said that Alex and Zulema had been dating for a year, but they were taking things slow during that year. And I'd never heard that they had been together for a year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Whether or not it's true, I don't know. But she still just denies there was a cult.
Yeah, I can't understand. Like, everybody looks at it and says, yeah.
Yeah. And then when she was talking about the shot taken at Brandon, she claims that Brandon was telling everybody that Melanie had hired Alex to do it. And she admits there was a time where she didn't know if Alex could have done it, but she still doesn't think he did.
Because she asked him.
Right, yeah.
He said no.
Yeah, well, I mean, these people also believed a guy when he said he was like a prophet. So they don't seem like the most fact-finding people.
Well, I mean, how does Brandon get the make of the car and know whose car it is and the tag number?
Right.
Come on.
Of course. So when she was asked about not seeing JJ and Tylee, she didn't see him when she moved. Their stuff, she says their stuff was in the home, but she never saw him. And she says she wasn't close with Tylee when Tylee hit the teenage years. And she said that JJ was in a special school and that he had a nanny, and she trusted that. And she also says she wasn't with Lori every day. But I feel like if you move from Arizona to Idaho, you're going to say, hey, I want to see everybody. Where's my cousins?
You're next door.
Yeah, exactly. It just,
You're not across town. You're not streets over. You're right next door.
Mm-hmm.
I know. A friend of mine lives in an apartment complex. It's kind of like what they were in. They were in townhomes or something. I don't know. But, and you can hear everything around. So.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I was telling my daughter on the way home, we had some errands to run today, and we were talking about apartments. And I've lived in an apartment, and while I was grateful to have shelter, for me, it's not ideal. I mean, you can hear every argument. You can hear everything. So
it's a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine who their neighbor crawled through their attic and got down in their house from the
what?
Yeah. So I'm
like, that's freaky.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I never felt safe in an apartment.
Yeah.
Never. Just, I don't know. It's just so many people, and I lived alone, so just always cautious, and I don't know, but I'm curious to see if anybody next door heard anything through the walls.
Yeah.
That's just things we don't know yet.
Nope.
So when she was asked if she was suspicious about not seeing him, she just trusted Lori and said that she was trustworthy and a good mom, so she didn't have any reason to doubt her. And then she says she cooperated with police.
When you drinking that same Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna question nothing.
Exactly. It's, yeah, I'm really curious to see the inner workings of what they have found out. And I know that they probably have got their FBI people who specialize in cults on this. I think that there's going to be some crazy stuff come out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, above what we know.
Yep.
So, they were talking about when Natalie, which is Ian Pulowski's wife, and Brandon had talked, and he kind of filled her in on what he knew at that point about what was going on. So then, of course, she talks to Ian, and that's when he agrees to be wired and talk to Melanie.
Yeah.
But this whole thing to me, this whole wire thing, it's very, he was so willing at first to work with the FBI, and then he cut it off so fast and said he didn't trust him or something, right?
Yeah, it's very odd.
I wonder if maybe if word got out that he had been wired up, if maybe there wasn't a threat made to him, because who's to say Melanie didn't tell Lori or Chad that he was wearing a wire, because it seems like he really quickly stopped helping them. And then he got very defensive, if you remember, on the East Idaho, was it East Idaho News that they did an interview? I can't remember.
It was with Nate one time.
Yeah.
And they did Nate and Dateline, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so during the one interview, he was just kind of glossing everything over. Oh, it's not a big deal. I talked to her and she assured me there was no cult, and then I just didn't wear the wire, essentially is what he said. I'm just curious about the behind the scenes of that, because it just doesn't seem like, I would not want to make the FBI mad if I were innocent of it. And I'm not saying Ian did anything. I'm just saying that I don't know why you would turn the FBI off.
Well, wasn't Alex still alive at that point?
Oh, that's a really, really good point.
He seems to be the protector.
Yeah. I mean, and on the previous episode of the Mommy Doomsday podcast, that's what Melanie Gibb had said, was that Alex was totally convinced by Chad that his sole purpose on this earth was to be Lori's protector. So.
And I mean, somebody took a shot at Brandon.
Right. Yeah. It's not coincidence.
Yeah. So
none of this is just.
Ian may be thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah. But so the FBI told Ian their main focus of him wearing a wire was just to see if he can get any information on where the kids were. And he wore it for 2 weeks, and then he admitted to Melanie what he was doing.
See, that's what, was he like mouthing or writing?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I could go home and totally get a piece of paper out and write down, do not say anything. I'm wearing a wire.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways you could communicate. You write it in steam on the shower, on the mirror. I mean,
I'm just saying, in National Treasure, when Nicolas Cage is on the Intrepid in New York, they fire that little scrambler thing, and he jumps off in the water. Like, yeah, he had a wire on. Just saying.
I love how you bring movies into this case.
Dude.
It's just so fun. At least it wasn't Kindergarten
It's a
Cop.
classic movie. See, I moved on. I'm now at National Treasure, which is an amazing movie.
It is really good. I love
Yeah.
National Treasure. I didn't think I would like it, but both of those were really good.
That's what I want to go search for treasure like that. That's why I watch my treasure shows.
Oh my gosh, we could be adult Goonies.
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Replace the marbles with the jewels.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing the truffle shuffle.
Yeah. Do it.
So, but Ian said that he had been around Chad and Lori, and he didn't feel that he should worry for the kids. He didn't feel like they were threatening or whatever, that he didn't have any fear. So Melanie said that she gave investigators all the information that she had, and she thought that Lori had a problem with law enforcement and the courts because they failed her in the past. And I kind of paused for a second and just scratched my head and thought, no, this is the only time you haven't gotten away with something with law enforcement.
Yeah.
I mean, every other time she wiggled out of something. She definitely fared on the, I guess you would say, the winning side every time before Rexburg that the cops were involved.
I still go back to the rats fleeing the ship.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody left. They're headed to Vegas. Melanie and them get married. Alex and Zulema get married. Like, everybody's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason. Lori and them leave. Yeah, there's a reason.
Oh, yeah. It's for sure. But Melanie says, I don't know what I don't know. And that all she knows is Lori always protected her kids in the past. So
what does that even mean?
I don't know. I mean, you can be you can seemingly be okay, and then something happens. It's I don't know. It just, I get a headache when I try to figure out how you live next door and you don't know nothing.
I don't know what I don't know.
Right? Yeah. That was her quote. I put it in quotes right here. I don't know what I don't know. But I mean, we talked about this 3 or 4 episodes ago. She's got visitation with her kids, and she hasn't been arrested. So
I'm going to tell you, I've been in situations where your gut is telling you something ain't right.
Yep.
You need to get out of this situation. You need to, just this person, something's not right.
Run, Forrest.
So it's odd that those people that were around them were like, oh no, everything's fine.
Yeah, well.
And even her family, who they weren't around her,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, she would never hurt her kids. The kids are fine. I talked to JJ, all that stuff.
Yeah, after he had been killed.
Yeah.
So we know that Alex had just gotten back into town a day or two before he died. I didn't know that Chandler investigators wanted to talk to him about Charles's death. And in fact, they were in the Phoenix FBI office when they were on a joint call with Gilbert PD and Rexburg Police when they heard from a commander from Gilbert that they were responding to Alex's house for a medical emergency.
Oh.
So they were having a meeting.
Oh, wow.
They were literally on the call with all these different agencies when they find out Alex is down.
Wow.
And I really, because the thing is this, he had blood clots in his lungs. Tammy Daybell, according to Emma, her daughter, she had the pink foam that was coming out of her mouth, which indicates blood clots in the lungs. I really am super convinced that he took something and offed himself, because not only were these people on the phone, they had exhumed Tammy Daybell the day before. Everybody had gone and gotten married. At this point, Chad and Lori's in Hawaii. And I think he knew what was up. I think he knew it was all the walls were tumbling down.
Well, remember, he had his, quote, last rites read to him by Chad, right?
Right.
So
Yes, more of a curse, obviously.
Yeah.
But at that time, they were still combing through the mounds of digital evidence when Alex died. But they were interested, and I always kind of wondered, why was the FBI at his autopsy? And now we know they were already on the case. They were already pinpointing him as somebody they needed to talk to.
Yep.
So let's see what else. So many things died with Alex, though.
I'm hoping he's said a lot to Zulema.
I think so too. I mean, that's why. I think that's maybe why we have not heard anything from her.
Yeah, I go back to the Summer Wood conversation that was recorded.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't hear anything about. They had a same kind of meeting with Zulema, and we didn't hear anything. So
nothing at all. And well, we know she struck a plea deal, or not a plea deal. What do you call it? Immunity?
Yeah.
So obviously she's not culpable for anything. But you would think if Alex is super convinced that this is all legit, and God told him that he's a protector, like you say, he could have opened up to her.
Yeah.
And I think she holds so many answers, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem like the kind that would keep a diary.
No, I don't think so either.
Mm-mm.
Might have been digital.
Well, and it was a week after Melanie Gibb. I think it was a week after Melanie Gibb knew the kids were missing, and she asked, was it Chad? I don't know if it was Chad or Alex. What happened to the kids? And he
Alex.
said, was it Alex? Yeah.
Yep.
He said, you don't want to know. And he also said they won't be found.
Yeah.
So that.
Meanwhile, you left your cell phone in your pocket there, buddy.
Right. Yeah. The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah. They didn't know how that kind of stuff worked, clearly.
Dude, that's some good stuff. Like, I didn't know, like, they were there.
I didn't either. And I mean, the fact that you've got Chandler investigators in the FBI office in Phoenix. They were on a joint call with Gilbert and Rexburg.
Wow. And
then the call comes.
I'm just ready to get all this information.
I know. And it is not going to be anytime soon.
No.
I guess maybe the probable cause affidavit will answer a lot. You know, I mean, because when Chad got arrested and they released that, we knew then how they were able to pinpoint those bodies' locations. So I think it'll be the same with this. It's just we're finally going to get some new information, I think, on Lori and Chad specifically. And I still go back to that hearing and say, something's up. Yeah. I think the charges are going to differ.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be absent for either one, but they're going to differ. And then you're going to have two different probable cause affidavits that's going to give two totally different stories of their involvement and what they knew.
Yep.
So that's what I'm ready for. I know we're not going to be in court for a few years. We're not going to go to trial for a few years. Easy. Yeah. And you have to think too, when these charges come down for Chad and Lori, for JJ and Tylee, they still have charges that are most likely going to come for Tammy and Charles. And we're not sure. We don't know what that autopsy says. We've heard that it could be the digital evidence is enough. So it might be that Chad is willing to sell her out if he knows he's got more stuff coming. You can't live 2 life sentences in prison. So maybe if he can throw it all on her, because he knows he's going to be put away anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to survive prison. Like,
This different. These guys are in tiny little county jails. When you go to prison and you're surrounded by murderers and rapists and the worst of the, sometimes the worst of the worst. Not all people in prison are violent criminals, but they don't take kindly to kid killers.
No. And didn't Pryor already say that they wanted to stay? He wanted to be able to stay there if they do change venues.
Yeah, he wanted to stay in that jail.
He wanted to stay in that jail
because he's comfy.
Yeah,
but it's not always going to be that way, and I think that's where Lori is especially going to have a big awakening, because she might feel like she's top dog right now, but you're going to go into a jail with women who don't take kindly to women who kill their kids or know her kids are being killed and are complicit in it. These people are going to have to be in isolation for a very long time, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of the notoriety of the case. That's a trophy. Somebody in there that has life already, they don't care.
Yeah.
They will. That's how Jeffrey Dahmer died. That's how, you know what I'm saying? I mean, people, it's almost like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
When they can kill an inmate. So she's just going to have a lot to learn in prison. It's not going to be cherry lipstick and, you know, pencils to curl your hair.
No.
I think, because I was talking to somebody who had been in jail, and she said, we used to get pencils and we would wet our hair and curl our hair around it to give ourselves curls. But yeah, I just think right now it's probably easy to get as comfortable as they can be where they are, but the big house can be much different.
Yeah.
And we still don't know if there's going to be any federal charges for any kind of Social Security fraud.
Yep.
So, all right. So we're going to move on to episode 6, which is the last one in this series. I really hope they do more of these as things come out.
Oh yeah, because it's just little nuggets of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 weeks before the welfare check, Chad emailed the property manager about a place to live and said he had no kids. So that was in Hawaii, right?
Yeah. So he made the inquiry about renting the place, and they had no pets, no kids, and they were a clean couple.
Yeah. So March 6, 2020 was the first time in court in Rexburg.
Mm-hmm. It was, you know what was, I rewatched that hearing not too long ago, and when Chad walked in, we talked on the last one about Colby and his laser eyes, if looks could kill, but there was a couple of girls sitting one row behind Chad and kind of to the side, and when they realize he's coming to sit over there, if you watch their faces, they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was so funny.
He's right here.
Yeah. Yep.
And one thing that was interesting, Colby said seeing her in court that day, he said it was almost like being on a movie set. It wasn't real life. And I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine seeing your mom come in front of cameras that are worldwide broadcasting this?
Yeah.
And that's your mom?
Yeah, and he hadn't seen her in a while.
Mm-mm. And she didn't even look at him.
No.
She didn't even turn to look at him or acknowledge him, but she turned and looked at Chad a few times, but didn't look at her son.
Yep.
And I noticed that. It's just like he didn't exist in there. And that even though we know what kind of person, it made me sad for Colby.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've said it every time we talk about him, that boy lost 80% of his family, pretty much. I mean, his immediate family. It's just gone.
Yep.
Boom.
So,
and he also said he wanted to tell Lori he loved her, but essentially he wanted to say whatever's happening with you is setting off an atomic bomb. And he's right.
Oh yeah, everything just started going crazy around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Colby wanted to look at her and see signs of his old mom, and he just couldn't get it.
Yeah, I think that woman, whatever was left of the old Lori was left behind a year before any of this. I think it was just a decline. And so when law enforcement executed the search warrant, Chad was led from his bedroom into the kitchen, and he was allowed to call his attorney, but he was told if he wanted to stay there, he would be accompanied by an officer the whole time for his safety and the officer's safety. They don't know if he's going to go inside and get a weapon and come out. So we know he went to the car. I didn't know that the call from Lori came 3 hours into the search on his property.
I didn't know that either.
That's a long time to be sitting in your car looking over your shoulder.
Yeah. Because I think he moved a couple of different places too.
Mm-hmm.
He was at first on his property and then went over to Emma's property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Then he took off.
Yeah. As soon as they hit the remains, I think JJ's remains, right?
Yeah.
That's when he took off.
And I didn't understand it at first because they said he was looking over his right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But where his car was sitting over his right shoulder was where JJ was buried. He could see. He had a direct line of sight.
Yeah.
To see that way. So,
I mean, I think at that point he had to know it was over. They got away with it for a long time. Chad did, because he wasn't arrested till June 20 something, 23rd or 26th, something like that. So Lori had already been in jail for 4 months.
Yeah.
Before Chad was arrested. And then that one girl, I think we were on a Facebook group with her, the girl that got the only footage of him being arrested.
Oh, yeah, they were driving by.
Remember, she posted it in the group and said, oh my gosh, guys, I got the footage. And then now you see it on Dateline. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Man, she was in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
And so if you listen to the call, Lori, we don't know if she knows they were there. It seems like she didn't, because he says, they're here, they're searching the property. And then she says, are they seizing stuff? And he's like, they're on the property.
They're searching. Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell. He just seems way more, like Rob Wood said, he just seems way more nervous and, oh my goodness, to where Lori wasn't.
Yeah.
And I always kind of thought it was the opposite. But when, I forgot who said it, or it was Rob Wood, and then it was mentioned on, I think, maybe that Dateline episode, if you go back and watch that Hawaii stuff, you see him, his knuckles are white, holding her hand.
Oh, yeah.
He is scared to death, because you're big and bad in somebody's living room when you're the prophet and you think you're untouchable by the law. And then here comes Nate. Here comes Nate. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? And
that's great.
We'll say that randomly around the house.
Yeah. You know what I want to know? Are they going to release? Because we know Chad and Lori talked a lot on the phone. Mm-hmm. I want to know if they're going to release all that. They released that one.
That would be.
And you're going to hear him lying.
Oh my gosh.
Telling her that everybody's supporting her.
Right. And I forgot about that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. So it's almost like he was trying to keep her cooperative, because if you remember, Rob Wood indicated that maybe Lori wanted to talk about the location of the kids, but Chad talked her out of it.
Yeah.
So, that has to be recorded.
And that's something.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think so. Yeah. And I don't know how that works. It might be that stuff comes in at trial.
I hope so.
They may do it. I mean, that could be evidence they use against both of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think maybe and I've talked to people since all of this who have been in prison and jail for long periods of time, and they say you do forget sometimes that somebody's listening to you on the phone and you let stuff slip.
Yeah.
So all that stuff's just what we know is so tiny that I think when a lot of stuff comes out, we're going to realize we really didn't have a good grip on stuff. We were way off on a lot of stuff. I think it's just going to be more in depth than we ever thought.
Yep, I agree. I'm ready to see it.
Yes. So when Nate asked about the day the search happened, if you remember, they couldn't get to the road. He sent Eric out there, and the road was blocked pretty far back. So, of course, we know Nate got in the chopper. And
Superman.
Yeah, he flew over. And when he asked an officer at some point what was going on, this was so telling. And he said, it's going to be a wonderfully sad day.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They knew. But a wonderfully sad day. I think wonderful that the search is over, but just obviously sad. And then we had talked about how Lori dances in her cell, reads Chad's books, and writes to him every day. That is now the subject of a court filing.
Okay, here's my question. They can't contact each other. So she's writing to him.
That's true.
Is she just writing and staying in her cell?
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems to me that she's obsessed with him still, from what we've heard inside the jail.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she fully gets what I don't know. Do you think she gets what I do? I do. I think she fully gets what's going on.
I'm just going to say, if this was like Matthew McConaughey, like I could understand your obsession.
Yeah, right.
But it's Chad.
It's the beef.
It's the beef. It's Bill Murray. Come on. It's the beef.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, I might join George Clooney's cult.
I mean, I'm not knocking anybody who wears the white New Balance shoes.
No, it's Listen, when those things are on a dad's feet and he's got the grill fired up, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be good.
Those are the ultimate, those white New Balance with the blue outline.
Yep.
Like every older dude I know wears those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw a meme one day. It says, the food's going to be lit when dad busts these out. Melanie Gibb obviously has doubts that Alex's death was natural, as do I.
And everyone else.
Yeah. And she also said that Chan was the hand and Lori was... Yeah, Melanie said that Chad was the hand and Lori was the puppet. Did I say something wrong?
You just said Chan.
I said Chad. Clean your ear out.
Okay. I want y'all to comment on this video that she said Chan. We're going to see all the comments below it.
I'm going to get you a miracle ear for Christmas. No, your birthday's coming up. Hey, guys, Fruitly's birthday soon. We just made reservations. A bunch of us go out to a hibachi place every year. And so, yeah, we're going to have to do a little something for Fruit Loop on our big day. So it's the 19th?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even have to look at my calendar.
What about that?
Look at that. What's my birthday?
September 30th.
30th?
31st.
21st.
I knew I was in there somewhere.
Man.
I was only 10 days off.
That's right.
I did get the right month.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So that finished up all the episodes, and it's funny because anytime anything new about this case is released, we eat it up. And a lot of times, if you're like us and you know the case as much as you can front to back, it's always nice when you can get a little nugget or two that's unknown. And so there was a few in here. I think the biggest thing for me was finding out about the FBI having that meeting the moment Alex falls out.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy. I just So it's let's see here. So you're gonna be gone this week. We're gonna pre-tape some stuff so that everybody has some fresh content. But I hope you have a safe trip.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take my daughter and one of her friends to Asheville, and we're gonna go thrifting and antiquing. And Asheville is a great little city. What, about 30 minutes from here?
Hour and 15.
Okay. Clearly you go the speed limit.
No, it's an hour and 15 minutes.
No way. It's never taken me more than 45 minutes to get to Asheville.
I'm just saying.
You
keep talking. I'm going to tell you what the map says.
Okay. I'll keep talking. So we're just going to go up there. It's a great little hippie town. And so my daughter and I fit right in. You know what I think's really funny, Fruit Loop? We are so opposite.
Hour and 4.
Hour and 4. See, I can make it 45.
Well, if you go on up to another spot above it, it's hour and 15.
Yeah, no, we go right into downtown.
Hour and 4, not 45. Hour and 4.
Hour and 4.
See?
So my 45 minutes works.
Speed demon.
That's right. I put on a little
Breaking
Pink
the
Floyd
law.
or
No,
Tom
you
Petty.
getting the wake app. You're putting the wake app on because I've rode with you from the beach. You put the wake app on so it lets you know where cops are.
Okay, so my parents have me on that when I'm traveling. What is it, the Life 360 app?
Yeah, we have a little group.
So whenever we're all going to the same place, we can see my mom and dad's speed and location. And so the first time that I let them do it, because I don't, I'm super close with my parents and I have nothing to hide from them. But I only do it when we're traveling. Like 15 minutes into the trip, my mom calls. You need to slow down.
You are going 84.
It's like the angel on my shoulder.
Yeah.
But so I'm looking forward to kind of getting away for the day. The weather's just gorgeous here right now. It's so pretty. But yeah, we really do. We live in such a nice location.
Yeah. Some people still have snow though.
In North Carolina?
No. I'm talking some of our listeners. They're still in snow. So they're probably hating us because we're talking about this nice weather.
Yeah, I have shorts and a t-shirt on right now and a little sunburn on my knee from my top being down on my Jeep.
Sorry. Well, I ain't gonna lie. You could hang a hog in this room. It's cold in here.
I was having a major hot flash before I pulled whatever I pulled. So if you remember, I went and turned the air down because I had to get blood drawn today. Hopefully we can get this sorted out. It's the menopause. And then, so I have not gotten up out of this seat. And how long are we running, Fruit Loop?
40 minutes.
I don't want to get up, y'all. I feel it.
I'll film it and put it on our social media.
Man, I'm going to tell you, I never, from the time I was as athletic as we both were, I was never able to do a split until today at 43.
Yeah.
This
It
not-
sounded painful.
Yeah, it sounded painful. And then my daughter said, wow. I said, that was not intentional. So I'm going to have to get some of them old grippy socks they give you in the hospital.
I'll bring you some of my dad's. He's got plenty.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that's all we have for you guys. We will talk to you on Wednesday.
Yep.
And if something crazy happens, we will not have a sweet tea session because Fruit Loop's going to be in North Carolina.
I got to be hospitable.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a friend coming in from Arizona.
Yep.
Yeah, so she's a really cool girl. And so, yeah, you guys will have a great time. The weather's going to be perfect up there.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday.
See you later.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.